So, same thing like last time. I'd like you to use this as a check as you go along through your work. So let's get started pretty quick. First question. So again, it's an equation, two-step equation actually. So you can make your story here if you like. And again, if you're really comfortable, you don't have to. So we have a variable y, which is being multiplied by -7, subtract 40. That gives us 9. Plus 40 divided by 7, -7. That should give us our answer. So let's do our inverse operations, which is plus 40. That's going to become 0. Bring the -7y, and that equals to 49. Divide both sides by -7, and we get that our y is -7. Our check, -7y minus 40 should give you positive 9. -7y, sorry, I forgot the y, so let's substitute. I have to put a -7 over there. Minus 40 equals 9. -7 is 49. Minus 40 equals 9, and you can tell that both sides are equal. I need to do a distributive property here, so I'm going to do -9a plus 12 equals -33. I'm going to, without doing the story this time, I'm going to do -12 over here, -12. And I'm going to get that this is 0. This is going to be -45. -9a divided by -9 divided by -9, and I'm going to get that a equals positive 5, right? Negative divided by negative is a positive. So when I substitute, I get 3 times 5 minus 4 equals -33. -3 inside the parentheses, I have 3 times 5 is 15, and 15 minus 4 is 11 equals -33. I can multiply now, and I get -33 equals -33. So that's nice and simple. I can make this a little bigger for you. Okay, so now this one, I'll make a story this one let's show you that I have a variable w which is being multiplied by -2/3, and that equals 15. So going backwards, I'm have to divide this by -2/3. So just think of what dividing by a fraction means. Divided by a fraction means that you're going to multiply. So if anytime you're dividing something, and I'll write this something over here, you're multiplying something by a fraction, and in this case -2/3. That's something we're going to keep, right? So that's something we're going to keep. I'm going to change that division to multiplication, and we're going to use the reciprocal of this, which is 3/2 negative, right? So dividing by -2/3, which is what we're going to be doing here, because it's the inverse operation multiplication, is really multiplying by the reciprocal. So that's why we multiply this side by -3/2, and we multiply this side by -3/2. Now on the left side, the negative and negative is going to be a positive, so that's great. It's what we want. And then the 3 and the 3 will cross out. The 2 and 2, they all cancel out. Not cancel out, they simplify to 1, right? So we have what we want, which is just w. On this side, 15 times -3/2 is going to be, can we simplify anything? We can't. So I'm just going to write -45/2, because 15 times -3 is -45, and 1 times 2 is 2. So our answer is -45/2. Leave it as a fraction. Go back to my equation, which it was this. Let's see if w, the value that we found, really works. And we get -2/3 times w, which is -45/2 equals 15. So I can simplify this 2 and this 2, become 1 and 1. I can simplify the 45 and 3. I can divide 3 by 3, and I get 1. And 45 divided by 3 will give me 15. So it's a negative times, and this is a positive, so my answer is negative. 1 times 15 is 15. And at the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1, and I'm not going to write it over 1. And you can see that, oh, sorry, the negative, this is a negative, and this is a negative, so that should have been positive. So everything is good. Here I have, and again, I will do the story. H, which is being divided by -3, subtract 5 equals -10. I should do plus 5, and then I should do times -3. So following that, I'm going to do plus 5 first. and 10 plus 5, negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5. These two become 0, and I got negative h over 3. I'll multiply both sides by negative 3 now. Multiply by negative 3, multiply by negative 3. This 3 and this 3 will simplify to 1, and negative times a negative is a positive, where I get positive h. And negative times a negative over here, I get positive 15. If I substitute, I get 15. I'm replacing the h with 15, and I get 15 over 3. Negative 5 equals negative 10. 15 over negative 3, it's really negative 5, because 15 divided by 3 is 5, but negative minus 5 equals negative 10, and minus 5 and minus 5 is negative 10. So we're good. Now, these are inequalities. Let's solve in the same way. So let's do minus 4 over here. Minus 4, right? Do your little story if you like. This is going to be 5y less or equal to negative 19, and negative 4 is going to be negative 23. Divide both sides by 5, and I get y equals, not y is less or equal to negative 23 over 5. If I were to graph that, you can change that to a, what do you call, a mixed number right now. So you can get 5 goes into 23 4 times, 3 left over, 5, all that negative. If you're going to graph that, so here's negative, let me write this, negative 4 3/5. Here will be negative 3, here will be negative 5, etc. So shade on that shade, shade. And we want numbers that are less than negative 4 3/5, which is this way. So check, pick a number, obviously on this side, on the left side. So let me just pick negative 5, and let's see if that's true. So I get 5y plus 4 less or equal to negative 19. So if I pick y equals 5, I'm going to pick y equals 5, negative 5, I'm sorry. So I get 5 times negative 5 plus 4 less or equal to negative 19. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25 plus 4 equals less or equal to negative 19. Negative 25 plus 4 is negative 21, and that is definitely less than negative 19. So all that is necessary. No distributive product, but definitely some combining like terms here. So negative 3, this guy and this guy will be combined on that side, and then the 4 and the m. Negative 3 plus 5m is 2m. Then I copy the 6. 4m plus m is 5m. And then I copy the negative 24. There are variables on both sides, so pick one to get rid of. Let's get rid of the smaller one. Well, in this case, you know what? I'm going to pick to get rid of the negative 5, the 5m, only because I like my variables on the right side. So I'm going to go negative 5m and negative 5m because I want to get rid of the 5. Neg 2 minus 5 is negative 3 plus 6 less than, and this will go away, less than 24. I will do now minus 6, minus 6. The 6's will go. I'm left with negative 3m less than negative 30. Divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3. So remember, when you divide by a negative number, you have to switch the inequality to the other side, and negative 30 divided by negative 3 is just m. So m. So your solution is going to be, no, not shaded, sorry. We're not going to shade it, and we need a number that's greater than 10, and numbers greater than 10 are on this side. So if you pick a number, I don't know, pick an easy number. I'm going to pick 20. So m equals 20. So I'm going to get negative 3 times 20 plus 6 plus 5 times 20 less than 4 times 20 minus 24 plus 20. So every time I see a m, I put a 20, so I get negative 60 plus 6 plus 100. It's less than 4 times 20 is 80 minus 24, and oops, that should have been a 20. And now it's just a matter of adding. Negative 60, 40, this is 46 on this side, and on the other side, I get 100, let's see, 76. And 46 is definitely less than 76, so that worked out. I need to do the sterility property here, so I'm going to go negative 5m plus 20 minus 18 greater or equal to 22. I can combine, I have to combine these two, so I get negative 5m plus 2 greater or equal to 22. Subtract 2 from this side, subtract 2 from that side. And I get negative 5m greater or equal to 20, because these two become 0. Divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5, and m is lesser or equal to negative 4. I have to switch the sign the other way. So if you graph negative 4, negative 3, negative 5, if you're going to do a circle, you're going to shade it this time. And we want numbers that are less than negative 4. It's going to be negative 4. And that way. Pick a number. I don't know. Pick negative 5. I guess that's the easier one. Pick negative 4. So negative 5, negative 4, minus 18, greater or equal to 22. Negative 5, negative 16, minus 18, greater or equal to 22. Well, not minus 16, this should be minus 8, sorry. And then negative 5 and negative 8 is positive 40. Minus 18 is greater than 22. And 40 minus 18 is 22, which is greater or equal to 22. Check. So let me just need some more space over here. So this one is a fraction. So one of the things we can do is get rid of the fraction. Actually, I'm going to change everything to a improper fraction first. So 5 over 8p minus 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 so this is 5 over 2, greater than 5 over 2. Actually, come to think about it, well, yeah. Let me get rid of the fractions. So to get rid of fractions, I find the LCM. The LCM between 8 and 2 is 8, right? So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 8. Every single thing here I'm going to multiply by 8. So if I multiply 8 times 8/5, so let me just pull that on the side. 8 times 5 over 8. These two 8s cross out, and I'm left with 5. So 5/8 p becomes just 5 minus 5. Let me write the p. 5p minus, and then I'm going to multiply 8 times 5 over 2, which is this guy right here. Put it over 1. Before I multiply, I can simplify. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 4 times 5 is 20. So I can, instead of 5 over 2, I can write 20. Greater than, and this is 5 over 2 again, so it's going to give me 20 again. So look at that. I got rid of my denominators, and now it becomes a little bit easier for me. So plus 20, plus 20. These two go 0. 20 plus 20 is 40, and 5p is greater than 40, which makes life very easy right now, and I can just go divide by 5, divide by 5, and p is greater than 8. When I substitute, I don't have to substitute over here, but I can substitute in my inequality that I changed. So I had 5p minus 20 is greater than 20. Let me pick a number. P, I'm going to p equals 9. Pick p equals 9. So 5 times 9 minus 20 is greater than 20. 5 times 9 is 45. And 45 minus 20 is 25, which is greater than 20. Okay. Translating to an equation, so all we got to do, we don't have to solve it, it's twice the sum, or twice, so 2 times the sum in the second one, put in parentheses, is equal to 24. So who do we put in here? The sum, who are we adding? A number? 5. The quotient of a number in 4 plus 25 is equal to, oops, I forgot to write something. So let me see, the quotient, division of a number in 4 plus 25 is equal to, and I don't know, let's just write 100 because we don't have a number. Okay. Right, and solve the equations. So we have to show me an equation. During summer vacation, you charge people $10 an hour to teach their children, and a flat rate of $12 to drive there. If you make $42 in 1 day, how many hours did you spend teaching? So in this particular day, you made a total of 42. Okay. So, and how did you make the 42? Well, first of all, you got plus 12. They gave you $12 for driving there, and then you did $10 per hour, and that's our equation. If you were to solve it, you would do minus 12 here, minus 12 over here. These two will go out, and you get 10h equals 30. Divide both sides by 10, right? And h equals 3 hours. So how many hours did you spend teaching or tutoring your kids? 3 hours. Okay. Tickets to fundraiser are 14 and $25 you purchase at the door. Ahead of time 14, at the door is 25. The total number raised from all tickets was, so you raised 625. If 11 tickets were purchased at the doors, how many tickets were purchased ahead of time? So 625 was the total. And 11 tickets were purchased at the door. And at the door is $25. If you multiply that by 11, you get $275. So out of the $625, 275 were actually tickets sold that particular day. And then the rest of the money that you guys collected was from tickets sold ahead of time. Okay, so it was 14 times the number of tickets, right? It was, each ticket was $14. So we need to find out how many tickets were bought at $14. Okay, so again, minus 275, minus 275. And these two cross out. That's a 0. 12 minus 5 is 5, and 5 minus 2 is 350. We have 14t. Divide both sides by 14. I have no idea. Alexa, what's 350 divided by 14? And t.
350 divided by 14 equals 25.
So 25 people bought their tickets at $14 ahead of time. On Friday, you rake leaves for 4 neighbors. On Saturday, 5, and on Sunday, you rake leave for 3 neighbors. Over the 3 days, you earn a total of 135. So here's your total. You were paid the same. So write an equation to find out how much you earned per house. So 4, 5. You worked a total of, you raked 4, 5, 9, 12 neighbors. 12. The total of 12 neighbors got you $135, so 12 times n for neighbors. So if you divide this by 12, this one is simple. Divide this by 12. And per neighbor, let's see how much you got. Alexa, what's 135 divided by 12?
135 divided by 12 equals 11.25.
So each neighbor paid you $11.25. That was simple enough. Your school's having a fundraiser. You're selling something, chocolate candies. You want to raise $200. You sold 120 candies, and one neighbor gave you $20 donation without taking any candy bars. Write and solve an equation to determine how much each candy bar sold for. So, okay, so you raised a total of $200. Out of the $200, some nice person gave you $20 plus 20, and the rest was made out of candy. All right, so how many candies did you sell? You sold 120 candies. So let's figure out how much each candy was worth when you sold it. So minus 20, and this makes sense because if you subtract 20 from the 200 you make, you're left with 180. 180 was the money you made out of the candy, not the 200, right? Because the 200 included the $20 your neighbor gave you because it was so nice. Now, bring down the 120c, divide by 120 on both sides. And c equals, Alexa, what's 180 divided by 120?
180 divided by 120 equals 1.5.
So each candy bar that you sold was sold at $1.50. I see. Combine like terms. This one is okay. So let's combine like terms. We got negative 48g plus 51 plus 40y minus 15g plus 36y. So you really got to be careful here. Let's combine these two, negative 48 and negative 55. It's going to be negative 63g. Positive 40y and positive 36 is going to be plus 76y. Careful here, there's no number in front of this parenthesis, so you can think of it as 1. All right, so it's going to be 55m, negative and negative is positive, and plus 32. Again, negative and negative is positive, plus 90m. Negative and negative is positive, plus 126. And then positive and negative is negative, and 7 times negative 12 is negative 84. Really careful with your signs here. We can combine these three guys, all the m's. I get 55 and 90, which is 145, and then I'm going to subtract 84, 1, and then 14, 61, so I'm going to get 61m, positive, 32 and 126, it's 158, and then I got to subtract 63, which is 5, and 15 minus 6 looks like it's a 95, so plus 95. Some fractions involved here, so negative 23 is just hanging out. Negative times negative is a positive, and 2/3 of 12. Okay, so you can multiply 2/3 of 12, which is 8. 2/3 of 21, again it's positive, right? That'll be 14, and I forgot an m here. And then plus 14m in the back. Combine like terms, let's combine these two. It's negative 23 plus 14, which is going to give you negative 9. And 8m plus 14m, both positives, gives you 22m. Next one I have this, which is 1/4 of 36 is just 9. Okay, positive. 1/4 times negative 20 is going to be negative, and that's going to be 5. And then minus 33 and minus 53, okay. So combine like terms, positive 9 and negative 53 is going to give you negative 44k. And then negative 5 minus negative 5 is going to give you negative 38. So write and solve each inequality, if I have time to do this. 8 less than the product. So 8 less than 8 less than the product of 3 and a number is greater than negative 26. But you know that less than is a turnaround word, so actually this becomes 3n minus 8 greater than negative 26. Plus 8 here. Plus 8 here. Do your little story if you like. I get 3n. This cross out is greater than negative 26. 16 minus 8 is just 8. And this is going to be negative 18. Divide both sides by 3. And n is greater than negative 6. So your graph, negative 6, negative 5, negative 7, 0, sorry, a circle, and have to be greater than negative 6, and number is greater than negative 6 on this side. Okay. Next one, Connor went to the carnival with $22.50. He bought a hot dog and a drink for $3.75. He wants to spend the rest of his money on rides, which cost $1.25 each. What's the maximum number of tickets he can buy? So he has to be less or equal to $22.50 because that's all he has. He can't go above that. He bought a hot dog. So so it's 1.25 per ticket. Here's my T. Plus $3.75, which he spent in food. All that has to equal less or equal to negative 22.5. So do your story, and you're going to get that minus 3.75 here, minus 3.75. Line up your decimals if you're not using a calculator. These two become 0, and you get 125t for tickets. Has to be less than, and then let me just go 5, 14 is 7, 11 minus 3 is 8. So that makes sense, right? He has $22.50 to take away the food, which was $3.75. He's left with $18.75. How many tickets can he buy with that much money? Well, divide this side by 125, divide this side by 125, and T equals, Alexa, what's 18.75 divided by 1.25?
The expression is usually
Alexa, stop. Alexa, what's 18.75 divided by 1.25?
18.75 divided by 1.25 equals 15.
So there you go. The number of tickets you can buy has to be less or equal to 15. Okay. What is this? Okay. Brenda has $500 in her bank account. Every week she withdraws 40 from her expenses without making any deposits. How many weeks can she withdraw that money if she wants to maintain a balance at least $200? So she has 500. She wants to spend $40 per week. How many weeks can she go doing that so that she can have at least $200 left in her bank account? So at least means it has to be greater or equal. So whatever she does over here spends. Whatever left over has to be greater or equal to 200 because that she doesn't want to spend everything. So this is how much she starts with. She's going to be spending. Spending is subtraction, and then from the 500, she's going to be spending $40 per. Is it per week? Yeah, $40 per week. So 500 minus $40 per week has to be greater or equal to 200. How many weeks can she go about doing that? So let's do this. So if you did a story, for this one I actually did a story, you had the variable w times negative 40 minus 500 has to be greater or equal to 200. So we're going to do, no, plus 200, sorry, plus 500. So we're going to do minus 500 and then divided by negative 40. So let's get rid of the 500. We do minus 500 here, minus 500 over here. These two cross out. Negative 40w comes down, has to be greater or equal to negative 300. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 40. And negative 40, I'm sorry. So w, switch the sign the other way, negative 300 minus 40. It's going to be 7.5, I believe. Yeah, 7.5. So the number of weeks that she can go spending $40, and if the greatest number of weeks, well, the greatest number of whole weeks is going to be 7. So this has to be 7 or less, and then she'll have 40. So she can spend $40 for 7 weeks straight, and then she has to stop if she wants to keep $200 in her bank account. Okay, so well, 7.5, but if we're talking about full weeks, it's only the maximum number of weeks is going to be 7. Okay, 7th grade class. It's putting a variety show to raise some money. Costs $700 to rent a banquet hall. They charge $15 per ticket. How many tickets do they need to sell in order to raise at least $1,000? Wow. Okay, so whatever they do has to be greater or equal to 1,000, or they lose money. So their expenses are going to be, well, they have to pay $700, right? So whatever. And how much is its ticket? It's $15 per ticket. Hang on a second. So there's something wrong here. 700 to rent. Has to be greater than 1,000, and their tickets are $15 per ticket. How is that? Oh, I'm a little confused on this one. I don't know why. Hang on a second. $15 per ticket. We need to make 1,000. Well, I guess my problem here is that the 700 I guess is included here in the 1000, but I don't think it needs to be part of my expression. So basically it says, I guess, whatever money they make needs to be greater than 1000, and the 1000 is going to cover all their expenses, which includes the 700. It's somewhere in here. So $15 per ticket. How many tickets do they have to sell in order to be greater or equal to 1000? So that's how I would do it. Divide this by 15. Divide this by 15. Alexa, what's 1000 divided by 15? Alexa, 1000 divided by 15.
1000 divided by 15 rounds to 66.667.
So in order to be, what do you call it? In order to cover these expenses, they actually have to sell 67 tickets at $15 each. Let me pause this for a second. So now we may have a few more questions. We present these with inequality, so this is not that difficult. So I like to have the variable on the left side. So we're talking about what she can carry, and we're comparing it to 79 pounds. So what she can carry in relationship to 79 has to be what? Greater than, less than? She can carry at most. So she can't carry more than 79 pounds, which is quite a lot actually. So she has to carry less or even equal to 79. You can't spend more than 225. Again, let's pick a variable. I guess S for spending. And more than 25, he cannot. So whatever he's shopping for, he has to be less or equal to 225. You must have an average higher than 70 to pass math. So we're talking about your average and 70. So how is that relationship going to work? It has to be greater. Can it be equal to 70? No, it can. It has to be higher than 70. So this would be an inequality. The speed limit is 100 miles an hour. So again, S for speed. I write speed this time. S looks like a 5. The speed in relationship to 100, what does it have to be? Well, your speed limit has to be less than 100. Can it be 100? Apparently, in this part, it can. The perimeter of an equilateral triangle is the length. So here we have a triangle where all sides are the same. So this is 3a plus 4, this is 3a plus 4, and this is 3a plus 4. So I want an expression that represents that perimeter. Hopefully it's simplified. So you not going to write 3a plus 4 plus 3a plus 4 plus 3a plus 4, but rather I want you to take that and maybe add them up. If you add them up, it's 3a plus 3a plus 3a, which is 9a. And 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is 12. Or you could have done distributive property and get that. And then the second thing, find the perimeter if a equals 3. If a equals 3, let's substitute. I get 9 times, replace the a with 3, plus 12. And I get 27 plus 12, which is 39 units, whatever the units are. A rectangle here, the length is 4 less. So here, let me draw the rectangle. I know that the length here is 4 less than twice the width, 4 less than twice the width, which is a turnaround word, so the length is actually 2w minus 4. Cross that out, which means this is 2w minus 4, and the width is just width. Again, I want an expression for the perimeter. You can just add all the w's. You get 2w plus 2w plus w plus w, that's 6w. And minus 4 is minus 8, so that's the perimeter of my rectangle simplified. Now, substitute the w with 6, so I get 6 times 6 minus 8. 6 times 6 is 36. Minus 8 is going to give us 28 units. And then finally, I think this is the last one. There's 2 more. So we want to create an equation. So here you're going to have your answers are going to be varied. Multiply both sides by 2, I get 16. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. 16 plus 10 is 26. Distributive property, k plus 5 equals 26. Let me add a variable to both sides, k plus 5, and let's just add 3k equals 26 plus 3k. So there I created a bunch of equations. One was a fraction. I'm going to take this one and divide it by, I don't know, 5. So I can divide everything by 5, so I get 2k over 5. And then 10 over 5 equals 26 over 5. Now I can rewrite some of these ones. That stays because there's nothing to simplify. But 10 over 5 is just 2. And 26 over 5, we can change that to a mixed number, 5 and 1/5. I can take this one and also change it to a decimal with I want a decimal coefficient. I'm going to divide everything by 10, which means move the decimal to the left one. So it's become 0.2k plus 1 equals 2.6. Last one, I think. So we got Boris has $50 to take his brother and his friends to the movie. He's going to buy 3 bags of large popcorn at $4.50 each to share. Each ticket costs $75. And he must buy tickets for himself and his brother. What is the great number of his friends he can invite? Jeez. So it's an inequality. Whatever he spends has to be less or equal to 50. He's going to buy 3 large popcorns at $4.50 each, which that gives you 9 plus $4.50. So the popcorns are going to cost him $13.50 because he's buying 3 large bags. And then he's trying to buy movie tickets, and it's one for him, one for his brother, and one for however many friends he wants to bring. So for sure he wants to buy a ticket for him and another for his brother. So just on tickets, for sure he's going to be spending, so let me add 14.50. He's going to buy popcorn, tickets for himself and from his brother, and whatever left over he's going to invite friends. So how many friends can he invite? Well, it's going to be, how much is each ticket? 7.25 per ticket. So let's combine these two. So right now he knows for sure he's going to be at $14.50 for himself and his brother plus the bags of popcorn, and that's going to be equal to $28. So 7.25 times the tickets he's going to buy, depending on how many friends he can invite, plus 28 that he's going to spend for sure. He's going to cover himself, his brother, and popcorn. So subtract 28 from each side. 28 from the other side. That makes sense, right? Because now he has $22 left over and 7.25t. So divide both sides by 7.25. 7.25. Alexa, what is 22 divided by 7.25?
22 divided by 7.25 rounds to 3.034.
3.034, etc. So you can't buy 3.034, so the number of tickets he can buy is 3 or less, which means he can invite only 3 friends, okay, after buying 3 bags of popcorn and as well as guaranteeing himself and his brother a ticket, okay.